It's going to be an exciting year ahead as New Hampshire once again becomes a proving ground for those brave souls considering a run for the White House. Former Congressman Will Hurd from South Texas last joined us here almost 4 years ago. He's no longer on Capitol Hill, but he is back in New Hampshire holding events and meeting with Granite Staters. Mr. Hurd, thanks for joining us in studio.
It's always a pleasure to be on with you.
So you're a South Texas guy, and so you've been on the border situation from day one, even before day one, I guess. Absolutely. It's been part of your life. So I'm curious, you know, this is a crisis every day. It doesn't always make the headlines. What needs to be done? And is the political will there in the Capitol to fix this when we are so divided?
So what needs to be done is quite simple. Stop treating everybody that's coming into our country illegally as if they were an asylum seeker. The category of asylum is very specific. You have to be part of a protected class. You got to show that your government is targeting you because of that. And because of this, and this is something that happened last administration and continued under this current administration, is what is leading to 2.5 million people coming into our country illegally last year. And that's only the people we know about, not the ones that we don't know about. So we have to stop doing that. We have to dismantle these smuggling networks that are moving people from a place like Guatemala City to Del Rio, Texas. And let me tell you, it's hard to get in between those two places. There has to be a ton of infrastructure. And that smuggling networks are the same smuggling networks that are also moving drugs into the country. And this is why this is no longer just a border issue. Everybody is dealing with it. Here in New Hampshire, everybody is being impacted by the amount of fentanyl that's coming in here. It's impacting the law enforcement's ability to respond to this, to respond to other things. So this influx is having a problem. And we have to dismantle those networks because they're making a lot of money. Just on human smuggling last year, probably made north of $25 million just on human smuggling. You add drugs into that, it's another 40 to 60, billion. Yeah. Billion, not million, billion. Guess what? The U.S. intelligence budget, the entire U.S. intelligence budget, a number I know because I was on appropriations when I was in Congress, is $60 billion. This is the magnitude of the problem. And is the political will there to fix it? I don't think so. In this administration, one of the things that needs to happen, the current head of Department of Homeland Security needs to go because these are the failed policies that have turned this into a crisis for the country.
You mentioned intelligence. Not only do you serve in Congress, you also served in the CIA for a number of years. I'm curious for your perspective on the balloon that the Chinese flew over the United States. It felt a little bit more like this was more of a statement being made rather than just an intelligence gathering mission. But what's your perspective?
So there's two assumptions that we have to make about the surveillance balloon. One, the Chinese government knew at some point we were going to discover it. So whatever was on it was going to get into our hands. And two, whatever they were doing was important enough to do to deal with the blowback to the bipartisan relation, or the bilateral relationship, excuse me. And so that's the question. And my concern is, it was probably, if they were testing something, it was probably software, not hardware, because they knew it was going to get into our hands. And think about, now I've spent a lot of time working with technology companies that have a national security application, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, synthetic biology, which is a wild industry. Was the Chinese testing whether they can still communicate in an environment in where people were trying to deny their communication?
Interesting.
And guess what? If they invade Taiwan, that's going to be the environment in which they're operating in. So
what's an appropriate response, though? What should the U.S. be doing in response?
Well, take it down, number one. Make sure we can detect other things like that, number two. And make sure we do a thorough analysis of what was on there in order to better understand what their capabilities are. And, you know, broader, we have to recognize and understand that we are in a new Cold War with the Chinese government. And I always make sure I'm clear. It's the Chinese government, not the Chinese people, not the Chinese culture. It's the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party. And they are trying to surpass the United States of America as the global superpower. Why should we all care about that? Because the quality of life that we enjoy as Americans is because of the role that we play in the rest of the world. And so if somebody's trying to challenge that, it's going to impact all of our way of life. And the only way that we're going to be able to deal with an adversary that's 4 times our size is we have to be 4 times more efficient, and we need to have a posse. We need to have friends that love us, and our enemies need to fear us, and that's where we need a foreign policy so that they know that next time you do something like that, there's going to be consequences, not just from us, but from a global community.
We're going to have a very robust Republican primary here in New Hampshire developing over the next many months. And if you boil it down, in some ways, it could just become a binary choice. It's going to be Donald Trump or someone else. And we know there's a group of people who's with Donald Trump to the very end, but there are a lot of persuadables out there, too. So if you are out and about talking to Republicans, trying to say it needs to be someone else, what would you say to convince them?
Well, look, what I would say to convince them is we're at a time when the world is getting more complicated and more dangerous. We need a leader at that moment. We need someone who can win in the general election. Democratic voters are as frustrated with Joe Biden and the Democratic Party as Republicans are. But we need to be able to have someone that can actually get independents and Democrats to vote in a general election. So candidate quality matters. And these issues that we're dealing with, AI, quantum, the war in Ukraine, we need people that understand these issues so they can help get us out of them and prevent them from going in. And here's what I love about New Hampshire. Y'all take this role as first in the nation seriously. I wish my former colleagues in your Democratic federal delegation took it as seriously as most Granite Staters do. But y'all make sure that somebody comes here and understands the people. It forces empathy. It makes sure you understand what the country is dealing with, because a lot of the issues that I'm finding out being here in New Hampshire are similar issues that you're dealing with in South Texas, that you're dealing with all over the country. And so that's why I think New Hampshire plays such an important role to make sure that we're getting a good choice that can be competitive and make sure that America stays the #1 country in the world.
And should Granite Staters be looking at you as a potential candidate?
I think Granite Staters should look at someone like me because guess what? The experience, I've seen our enemies up close and personal, whether it was as an overseas, undercover officer, in the CIA dealing with terrorism, or building a cybersecurity company, seeing people trying to attack us digitally, to now working with technology companies that are going to be the future of our society and making sure our kids are ready for these kinds of positions. But we need people that understand those issues and are ready to build a global coalition to make sure we continue to grow as a country and continue to uplift humanity.
All right, former Congressman Will Hurd, thanks for joining us here on Close Up.
Thanks for having me.